Imagine waking up at 6 years old not for school but for war. Across Europe and beyond, World War II pulled children into chaos, and the truth behind this will shock you more than any movie scene. Some carried messages through gunfire, some wore uniforms too big, and some faced death daily. But the most disturbing part is how normal adults allowed this, and why history stayed quiet for decades. Today you will hear true stories of kids at war, how it happened, who allowed it, and why it matters now. Stay with me because one revelation near the end changes everything you think you know. Let me show you exactly how this happened, step by step, without myths, without exaggeration, only facts and careful storytelling. The world in the 1930s was tense, broken by fear, anger, and loud promises of power and safety. Nations prepared for massive conflict, factories worked non-stop, and families felt pressure everywhere. When World War II began, adults went to fight, and childhood started disappearing fast. Schools closed, cities burned, and many parents never returned home. In this chaos, children were not protected. They were pulled closer to danger every day. Some helped by choice, others by force, and many simply followed adults they trusted. This happened across many countries, not just one side or one ideology. In the Soviet Union, Germany, Britain, and the United States, young lives crossed lines nobody should cross. Sources suggest commanders used children because they were small, fast, and easier to influence. Now here's where things get really interesting and also deeply uncomfortable. The youngest known participant was not a teenager, not even close, but a child barely older than a toddler. According to records, Sergei Leshkov was only 6 years old. He reportedly served with a Soviet unit during the brutal Battle of Stalingrad, one of history's bloodiest fights. Imagine explosions louder than thunder, freezing nights, and hunger every day. This was not training. This was survival inside hell itself. Sergei did not carry a rifle, but he delivered messages under fire. Officers treated him like a mascot, yet he faced real danger constantly. One bombing reportedly buried him alive, and soldiers dug him out with bare hands. Think about that for a second, because this was considered normal at the time. But if you think that is crazy, wait until you hear this. On the other side of the war, children were also trained to fight, but in a very different way. In Nazi Germany, youth programs promised pride, purpose, and belonging. Over time, those programs slowly turned into military pipelines. As the war worsened, training became more violent and more serious. By 1945, Germany faced collapse, and desperation changed everything. Teenagers and even younger boys were pulled into direct combat roles. One documented case was Alfred Zek, reportedly only 12 years old. He received an Iron Cross after allegedly fighting Soviet tanks with a Panzerfaust. A child, holding a weapon designed to destroy steel monsters. This was not bravery alone. This was a system breaking under pressure. Now pause, because this pattern did not stop in Europe. Across the ocean, a similar story unfolded in a quieter way. In the United States, rules existed, but enforcement failed during wartime urgency. Some boys lied about their age to enlist, and officials often looked away. One famous example is Calvin Graham, reportedly only 12 years old. He served in the US Navy and was wounded in combat. Imagine middle school age, standing on a battleship under enemy fire. He received medals, then lost them when the truth emerged later. But wait, because the biggest question still remains unanswered. Why did entire societies allow children into war zones without stopping it? To understand that, we must look beyond individuals and examine systems. War creates fear, and fear makes people accept the unthinkable very quickly. Adults told themselves children were helping, learning, or being heroes. In reality, childhood was being traded for survival and propaganda. This brings us closer to the most disturbing truth of all, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all, and it changes everything. Children were not accidents of war. In many cases, they were quietly accepted tools within it. When manpower ran out, age limits became suggestions instead of rules. Governments rarely announced it, but records show consistent patterns across nations. Young faces boosted morale, inspired adults, and symbolized total commitment. That image was powerful, and leaders used it without hesitation. Sources suggest commanders believed children adapted faster and obeyed orders more easily. That belief ignored trauma, fear, and lifelong damage completely. So what does all this mean for us today, living far from those battlefields? It means war does not slowly steal innocence. It takes it instantly. These stories remind us how fragile rules become under pressure. What seems impossible today can become acceptable tomorrow, very quickly. For modern viewers in the US, UK, and Europe, this history feels distant. But systems that failed then still exist in new forms now. The lesson is not about blame. It is about awareness and responsibility. Protecting children requires constant effort, not just laws on paper. Another hidden truth is how survivors carried silent scars for decades. Many never spoke publicly, fearing shame or disbelief. Some were celebrated briefly, then forgotten when peace returned. Others struggled quietly, unable to reclaim normal childhoods. Before we wrap up, there is one final thing you need to know. These stories are not just about the past. They warn the future. Whenever society glorifies sacrifice without limits, children stand at risk. History shows this pattern repeating again and again. The opening question was how 6-year-olds reached battlefields. The answer is simple and terrifying. Adults allowed it. If this opened your eyes, imagine what other hidden stories history still holds. There are more untold truths waiting just beneath familiar timelines. This channel exists to uncover them, one story at a time. Because remembering is the first step toward preventing repetition. If you learned something new today, let that knowledge matter. Share this story so these children are not erased again. Like the video to help others see it. Subscribe if you want more real history told simply and honestly. And tell me in the comments, which story shocked you the most, and why? Like, subscribe, share.